Welcome to week 3 of a 4-part series where I'm taking you through my process of creating an acrylic painting floral from a contour line drawing to final details. Today I'm adding layers of paint on top of the line work we've done in the past 2 weeks. The trick is staying loose and free as you begin to cover other layers, not get too hung up on the things you've already done. Let's get started and have some fun. Hello. Here's where we ended up with the project from last week. I added line to this piece and I realized I wanted to add some more line before we move into shape today because I forgot to show you what you can do with acrylic ink. Acrylic ink is really fun. It's so highly pigmented and it comes with droppers. So you can draw with these droppers. So another way to add line to your pieces is to kind of make sketchy lines with the acrylic ink. And because it's so pigmented, it stays wet for a while, so you have some time to work with it. So you can add some of these shapes. I'm just kind of outlining some petal shapes. You can be as sketchy as you want. That sounded funny. So one of the things you want to make sure you're doing is adding different values. So light values and dark values combined will make your piece more interesting. So if I add all of these dark values around the piece, your eye is going to be drawn to it, especially when it's next to a very light value. So right now, the page around the flowers is white, and so white is the lightest value you can have. Black is the darkest. Because this is very close to black, it's dark. Now, what you can do, because it's still wet, if you wet your paintbrush, you don't need a lot of water, but just a little, you can start to go in and paint with this ink. So this week I really want to focus on adding shape to this piece. Last week was all about line. The acrylic ink was the end of the line work. And so now I can use this ink to add shape. So I can fill in these petals. And I'm not going to do it everywhere. This is just the next layer. Because I like having the dark outlines, but I also like pulling in this paint in different areas. You can just paint. You don't have to draw lines with the dropper. You can use a brush. You can dip it into the ink bottle. I just like doing it this way. Just experiment and see what you like to do too. So you can see I'm still trying to be pretty loose, and the shape is just the way I'm filling in these flowers. I'm loving this color. I'm just kind of looking around the page and trying to see where else I might want some of that color. You can see it's still on my brush because the pigment is so strong. I can be painting it over here and still have plenty left over on my brush to add color in different places. Okay, so that is gonna need to dry a little bit, so I will speed it up while okay, that's mostly dry. So now I'm gonna add shape with paint. I am working with Raw Sienna Dark. It's one of my favorite colors. You can find the whole supply list in the description. This is some Raw Sienna Dark mixed with white, and I just like to add brush strokes, and that's the shape that I really like to do. And so see my purple lines from last week, I like to leave some of those peeking through. I like to layer on top of my other colors. It gives it depth and interest. And this is just the first layer. I will add more colors on top of this. But again, you can see I'm still trying to stay pretty loose. I don't want to get tight because then you can tell that the painting is being forced, and I don't want it to be forced. I want it to be loose and fun. And when you look at my paintings, I want you to feel that fun. I want you to know that I have so much fun doing this, and I want you to have fun doing it too. So that is some Raw Sienna with the white. I'm gonna add, let's see, I'm gonna make like a coral pinky color. Let's see if I can get it. Okay, so that's very pink. A little too much pink for me, but I like different colors peeking through, like I said. So I'm gonna add some of this, and then I still have more layers to put on. So there's gonna be this pink peeking through, and adding layers like this adds so much depth to your paintings. It makes them so interesting, fun to look at. So two of the main things you're trying to go for when you're painting: value contrast. So that is the darks and the lights in your painting. And that is to help, you know, if you're looking at your painting from across the room, it looks very interesting because you can see all the darks and lights. You can't see the details, but you can see dark and light pieces. And then when you get up close, adding all of these layers with line and shape, it gives you something to look at when you're up close too. So you're making your paintings interesting to look at from far away and also up close. So I did pretty much stick with my sketch for this. I don't always, sometimes I like to switch it up. And so you can see, as I'm working on shape, I am looking at the petals, but I also just like brush shapes. So a lot of the shapes in my paintings are brush strokes. Can you hear my cat? That is Link, my little studio cat. He is always around. He's mad at the moment because the door is shut and I think he wants to get out. When I'm done the video, baby. So I'm just layering on. You can wait for the paint to dry. You can layer while you're going. If you're layering while you go, you can blend it a little bit with the color below it. And you can always add line back in as well. If you find that you've covered a lot of it and you want some of it back, feel free to just move back and forth. It's like a puzzle, honestly. It's a back and forth for the entire painting. Maybe you do more line, maybe you do more shape, maybe you do more pen and pencil work, maybe you do more paint. It's all up to you, which is what makes it so fun, because no one is telling you what to do. You get to decide what you want to do, how you want it to look, and really where else in life as an adult do you just get to follow exactly what you love. I can't really think of any. All right, this is looking pretty interesting. It's just very wet. So let's see. I'm gonna stop working on the flowers. I'm gonna make a teal color and start filling in the background. So one of the interesting things with these two colors together is that the teal is a blue color and the burnt sienna colors are very orange, and that means that these two are complements, and complementary colors look really good next to each other and help each other stand out. So they're really fun to work with and experiment with. And if you have a color wheel, or you can make your own color wheel, it can help you figure out or remember what the complementary colors are. And so if you like texture like I do, you can add texture with a palette knife like this. You can use an old gift card or hotel key. I love adding texture to my work. One of my favorite parts is painting in the background, which I didn't always do it like this, but it is really fun lately to do the flowers first and then add in the background. It's also interesting to switch up your background, like how light and dark it is. And I need a smaller brush, so let's see. Another thing to remember is acrylic dries lighter than what it looks like when you first put it down. So this is gonna be pretty dark, which is fine, just be aware of that. Some more texture. You can also scratch into your background. I like using this nail. You can switch up how dark and light it is. You can, that was an accident, but talk about happy accidents. Adding some of the orange into the background can make the background look more interesting too. But again, I'm thinking about the light and dark values. So now you can see how this flower is standing out now because it's next to that teal. It's so interesting. Color is fascinating. So that is pretty light, and I want some texture in there. So I did light first there, and then I want a little bit of dark. And like, just doing this is all about play, finding what you like. Do you like texture? Do you not like texture? Do you want it to be like more graphic style with real solid paint colors? Because that's a thing too. And if you keep adding white to your teal mix. You can get lots of different values and shades, so you can keep things interesting there. I do like leaving white spots because then you can see, like right here, there's some pen marks and pen lines there. You can also add water to your brush and make your paint a little more translucent if you want to go over some of your pen lines. So like, let's see, if I want to see this stuff but I want it to be teal, I just added some water to my brush, and now I can add some teal but I can still see through it. I can see those pencil lines and pen lines through that. All right, so let's see, I'm gonna try and make this even lighter down here. You can fill in your spaces with paint. You can fill it in with any of your mark making tools, and you'll figure out what you like best the more that you practice. And so this painting is in my sketchbook, and I find when I paint in my sketchbook, I can be a little bit looser, a little bit more fun when I'm just experimenting with things. And so that is a major trick I have for you, to use a sketchbook and not worry about making a finished painting. Just play and have fun. And you can really make your sketchbook like an art journal. Like, you could paint this on one side and then you could journal on the other side, or you could add journaling onto your painting. It's up to you. Now, I would love to hear if you use a sketchbook, if you like to do mark making, and if you have any suggestions for mark making tools for me. Because I know that I have only touched the tip of the iceberg with mark making tools, and so I would love to hear what some of your favorites are. Just tell me in the comments below. I'd love to hear it. And okay, I'm gonna stop there for this week and let this dry. And then for the next video next week, we're gonna finish it up. We're gonna do some final details, make sure our values are strong, and probably add in some more line work. But for now, this is how it looks. Let me know what you think, and I will see you next week. Thanks for joining me today. I'm all about helping you grow your own creative practice full of peace, intention, and curious exploration. Find out more when you visit jenfletcherart.com. I'll see you soon.